Novak Djokovic has pulled out of Indian Wells, and for the first time since the year 2000, there will be no Big Three representation in the Californian desert. Novak didn't really give a reason here. He apologized and said that he's not playing. Obviously, it doesn't take a genius to figure out Novak needs rest. He wants rest. It's been a crazy year. But there's a little bit more to this decision, in my opinion. There is a deeper rooted cause that has allowed him to make this decision to skip Indian Wells and rest his body and focus on perhaps the portion of the rest of the season that takes place closer to home in Europe. There's a deeper reason to that, and I'm going to tell you what that is. But first, this video is brought to you by Rally Tennis. Rally Tennis is a new mobile app that makes it easy to play tennis in your area, whether you want to compete or just train. Creating an account is free. Just head over to rallytennis.com or search for Rally Tennis in the App Store. And if you sign up and use me as the referrer, you'll also get $10 towards your account. So there's a couple of reasons why players play this part of the season. There's no more majors left. Generally, I've noticed that interest in the sport kind of goes to an all-time low as far as the calendar is concerned. That's just my observation based on the numbers that this channel does, among other factors. But there's a couple of reasons why the players obviously continue to play. Well, for the vast majority of the players, this is money. They need money. They need rankings points. This is the livelihood, and the grind goes on. The grind continues. There's no reason, there's no difference between the season leading up to Roland Garros and the season now. Money is money, points are points. This is what it's all about. Then you have a portion of players and they're trying to make the year-end finals. And that makes this part of the year very intriguing for a player like Denis Shapovalov or Felix Auger-Aliassime or Pablo Carreño Busta, and I'm going to leave some out here. Jannik Sinner. These players are trying to make the ATP Finals in Turin. And for that reason, this is an intriguing part of the year. Then there's another group of players that hopefully for the sake of an exciting fall indoor hardcourt season, will be gunning for that year-end number one. And that makes for the best falls. The best falls are when there's a race there. And that is the category that Novak Djokovic would fall into here. Trying to lock up another year-end number one. And the only other player, of course, in contention for that would be Daniil Medvedev. So let's get into this, because I think a key factor in why Djokovic decided to skip Indian Wells is because, and this is the main point of this video, I don't think Novak cares much anymore. I just don't think that that is on the radar as much as it has been throughout his career, because he's kind of broken the records that he set out to break when it comes to being number one. The most important record is probably weeks at number one. The second most important record is year-end number ones. And in that case, he actually hasn't broken the record yet. It's Pete Sampras's record, and Novak has 6 and Pete has 6. And Novak's going to need one more of those to break that record. Well, right now, there are about 1,500 points separating Djokovic and Sampras. Sorry. There are about 1,500 points separating Djokovic and Medvedev. Now, the thing is, that might sound close. It is close, but Daniil, in many cases, doesn't really have a lot of points to gain. If you look at his rankings breakdown, he can't get any points in Paris. He won it. He can't get any points in Shanghai. It's not being held. Of course, he won that. The real area where he can gain points is Indian Wells. And, oh, by the way, he can't gain any points, most importantly, at the Nitto ATP Finals, because he won that last season. So that's 1,500 points. He can't win any points there. For Novak, it's kind of a similar situation to Medvedev, although he only is defending semifinal points when he does play the ATP Finals. He won Paris, can't win any points there if he plays it. Shanghai not being held, of course. it's Indian Wells for both Medvedev and Djokovic where they can actually gain a lot of points. But it's more than 1,000 points. So Medvedev could win Indian Wells. Djokovic lost in the first round there in 2018. So did Medvedev. So they both have 23 points at Indian Wells. So Medvedev could gain close to 1,000 points if he wins Indian Wells. That doesn't get him to Novak. And then there's really not much there. I mean, Medvedev's playing Moscow. He could gain, I believe it's either, sorry, that's bad by me, but I don't know if it's a 500 or a 200. I can check that real quick. But that's one tournament he's playing. The point is, it's an uphill battle. So Novak could probably cruise to the finish line here and still finish year-end number one. But don't get me wrong. If Novak needed to seal up number one, if this was a major priority for him, of course he'd play Indian Wells, because he'd probably seal the deal if he just played Indian Wells. It would be as simple as that. So if that was really important to him, he'd play. You might say, Gill, he needs the rest. There's no way. Stop looking into this. Stop reading into this. It's ridiculous. He just needs the rest. He's not ready to play. He's probably carrying an injury. Forget about it. No, I don't think so, because do you know where he needed the rest? He clearly needed the rest after Wimbledon. Everybody knows that. Everybody knew that. He knew that at the time. He's going to play it because it meant something to him, because he prioritized it. So you bite the bullet and you play. But this isn't a priority for him. This year-end number one stuff, this is no longer something that he is going to bend over backwards for. Right now, it's about the slams. Moscow's a 250, by the way. So it's going to be hard for Medvedev to get there anyway, but he can do it. It is still possible. If Djokovic played Indian Wells, it would probably be race over. But he's going to leave the door open. Why? Because number one is not Novak's priority anymore. This goes to show it. Now, by the way, another thing that showed it is that Novak was unaware of the rankings of the race and the math at the end of the U.S. Open after the final in his press conference. Someone asked him about year-end number one in regards to his scheduling for the rest of the season, and they asked about Medvedev and Medvedev potentially catching him in this race, and Novak was like, dude, I don't know. I think when Novak was chasing the records that he cared about in passing Federer for year-end number one and passing Federer in weeks at number one, I think in those days, Novak would have been well aware of what he needed to do to keep his number one ranking. Right now, again, I just don't think that is on his mind. I don't think he cares, so he is going to take the rest. And look, big macro point here before I sign off. Motivation is going to be such a massive factor for the remainder of Novak's career. I talked about it with Steve Flink when I had him on and we debriefed on the U.S. Open. Novak is not really declining physically. So the trajectory of his career is mainly going to hinge on how he motivates himself. And that is going to be a major factor because, look, touring is hard. Keeping yourself in the kind of shape that these guys need to keep them in. I know that we see the glory. I know that we watch the matches. We're not watching the training sessions. We're not watching the hard hours in the gym. Most guys don't enjoy that. It's suffering. It's pain. And that's what gets you there. And you got to be motivated to get there. So Novak is not going to burn himself out. He's going to decide what are the things that he's chasing. He's going to go 100% at trying to achieve those things. And that's how he's going to manage his schedule. That's going to be how he manages the way he peaks physically, because he's no longer peaking physically 365 days out of the year. That's why I've been pretty good at predicting when he's not going to win. Monte Carlo, for example. Monte Carlo, the French Open is 5-6 weeks away. He's not going to win that tournament. I said, Novak's not going to win because he's not going to be in shape in Monte Carlo. He's not going to be in peak physical condition. Those days are past. It's about peaking 4 times a year, going 100%, suffering, and putting in those hard yards, putting your body through that, those hard and intense, all that work when he needs it. So he's not going to go to California and play Indian Wells to secure number one. That ship has sailed. That part of Novak's career, it's past. So if you think he's skipping Indian Wells just because he needs a breather here, it's a little bit deeper than that. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.